Alrighty, my people. 4 persons in the island have been found to have the new variant of the COVID-19 in Jamaica. What does it mean for us moving forward? We are joined now by family physician with Health Plus Associates, Dr. Orville Nemhard, to tell us more. Welcome, Dr. Nemhard, to Smile Jamaica.
Morning, Dr. Orville.
Morning, Neville. Morning, Empress.
Good to see you. Doc, explain to us what the COVID-19 variant is and how did it come about?
Right. Viruses, when they multiply, occasionally will create errors in the multiplication process. In other words, the new virus should be identical to the old one. But every now and again, what will happen is an error takes place, and that's what we call a mutation or a variation. It becomes a variant. This virus has been known to produce variants like this at the rate of 1 or 2 per month ever since the pandemic started. So this is not new. The knowledge we have thus far of this variant is that it does not seem to produce any greater illness for the individual. It does not seem to create any greater propensity to a negative outcome from the infection. So it is still coronavirus. The spread is still the same. The disease process doesn't seem to be any worse. What seems to happen though with this virus is that, with this variant, is that it spreads more readily. So the example would be if you have a room with 10 persons, with the old variant, somebody sneezed in a room, maybe 2 persons would get infected. With this new one, if you sneeze in the room and with 10 persons, perhaps 4 or 5 persons may get infected.
Dr. Orville, sorry to jump in, sir, but how you know it's a different variant? How do you know that?
It's only identified through genetic testing. So the regular PCR or antigen testing that we do in office would not identify it as a different virus. It's only going to identify it still as just a COVID. So it's only when you do the genetic testing that you'll identify it as being the variant.
From what you said earlier, that you said this happens, does that mean that we could have had other variants before this?
Absolutely. And other variants exist. There was one which was identified in South Africa. Another one has been identified in Nigeria. And we fully will expect, as the pandemic rolls on, that there will be other variants that will be identified.
Doc, let me ask you. So to be clear, the one we've been testing for is COVID-19, the disease COVID-19. The variants have names, and I'm hearing about the variant coming in through the UK. What is the name of this one, and how do we prepare as a country to start testing for this now? Or is it that we're going to have double tests? Is it new testing kits that have to come in for us to detect this, to prevent it?
Okay, the virus is actually SARS-CoV-2. The virus doesn't change. The disease is called COVID-19. So the virus remains the same and the testing for the virus remains the same. The variants are given names based on what the genetic sequence is in, is found to be. This variant that has been found in the UK is called B117. But the tests are going to be the same. There's no difference in testing to identify B117 versus the previous variety of COVID-19. It's the same SARS-CoV virus.
I was reading, I think it was the United States, where they said they found this new variant, but they said this man didn't travel go anywhere. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's coming from somewhere. Could it be already in Jamaica before we kind of figure out that it was here?
Precisely, yes, absolutely. And this is what I'm saying. Under normal circumstances, the virus does mutate. There are these variations in replication which take place, which produce the mutation. So it doesn't necessarily have to come from outside. And if we're doing the genetic sequencing here, we may find that it's already here, or we may find our own variant already circulating here. This is not new for viruses.
Yeah. As far as you know, sir, would the vaccine be good with all of these different variants?
So far, the data says that we should be good. Everybody's concerned about what they call vaccine escape, which is if any of the new variants change in such a way that how we've programmed the vaccines to work will no longer work. Data so far suggests that the vaccines are still okay.
Yep, I'm hearing, and I heard from before, I think Pfizer said 94%, I think Moderna said 96%. Does that mean that little 4% window would suggest that even if you get the vaccination, you still can test positive after that?
Well, it's not a matter of testing positive, but perhaps still be susceptible. So we rarely have entirely 100% with a vaccine. 95% is certainly good.
But it does mean that you can get it again even after being vaccinated?
Yes, there's that narrow window, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Doc, the well-being, the mental health of our citizens, our children, the fear that comes with COVID-19 in our country entering 2021, I think we need to be clear. With the flu, for example, and some of the other sicknesses that we face, I want you to compare for me the flu and COVID-19. What is the difference? And what has changed? And is the flu still killing Jamaicans in 2020 and 2021? Tell me the difference.
Right.
Tell me the difference between a flu shot and how and the percentage of success rate with the flu shots. Should people be taking flu shots? Just compare the two for me, please.
All right, there are a whole bunch of issues inside there. The flu virus is a separate virus from the coronavirus. They are similar in the sense that they are both RNA viruses and they do change fairly readily. So yes, you get mutations, which is why the flu vaccine changes from one year to the next. You have to try and anticipate which variation is coming for the next year and produce the vaccine accordingly. If they get the projection right, meaning when they figure out which of the variations are coming and put it in the vaccine, then what you have is a very effective flu vaccine. If it is that they don't get it right, then yes, the efficacy will fall. So that is why you can get the flu vaccine and still get the flu. Separate and apart from there being failure in getting the projection correct, but also that there are other viruses which produce flu-like illnesses. Coronavirus is a new entity to us, at least this one. I mean, there are hundreds of coronaviruses that exist in nature, but there are only 7 that affect humans, and 4 of those produce mild disease. There are 3 of them which produce severe disease, of which this SARS-CoV-2 is one. And literally a year ago, the world knew nothing about SARS-CoV-2. We've come a long way to identify it, actually to produce a vaccine, and now to be looking at administering it. So a lot of what we can speak to historically about the flu vaccine, we can't necessarily say the same with coronavirus because we just don't have the track record of time and data to support just yet.
Yeah, Doc, we have to go. Final question for me, and I need a quick answer because we have out of time. Some medical folks are questioning, you use the word efficacy of the vaccine. I don't think it's in Jamaica yet, but would you have any issue at all with this vaccine as far as from what you know?
I will trust the scientists. That's the bottom line. We need to maintain a close look at the data, and what we are now getting is real world feedback in relation to its administration. So in a short amount of time, we have had millions of doses administered. We will have feedback on that. And at this point, I have no reservations with respect to what we're seeing with the administration of the vaccine, the side effect profile, or what we expect the efficacy to be.
Be safe, sir, and thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, too.
Family physician with Health Plus Associates, Dr. Orville Nemard. All right, we're going to run now to a quick break, but when we come back, cousins share their love of farming. Stay with us, please.